Alright, so I am going to be doing today one of the strategies that people use to trade with. I'm going to be using a 4-hourly chart, but it can be used with any type of chart. This is a really simple strategy. It's nothing new. You'll see if you do your own research, but I just want to run over it with people to give them a little idea. So this is playing with the trend lines, trading from trend lines. So what we're going to do is we're going to take here, again, this is how I do things. We'll do it differently, but I'm going to take that top. We're going to hit just that top there, which is this one. All right, this gives you a trend line. And then we're going to use information. I'm going to use real-time information just so it makes things easier. So you could have had that drawn out for a long time, for this whole time. So since the 15th of April, today we're at the 28th. So 2 weeks ago, you would have had that drawn out, right? So let's drop down. Let's first have a look, right, at exactly what has happened here. Price has come up to this point, rejected. Price has come up to this point, rejected. That's given us our trend line. So we've waited and waited and waited and waited and waited until price actually hit that line. Now, I was long Euro US dollar this morning today, so I took a long up to that trend line. Roughly, I thought potentially we could have bounced off. And sort of come up to sort of these levels and then pushing up to here as well. But look, things have changed. The dollar was at a critical level. Dollar's gone bullish again. So we could see this now, if this is what it looks like, coming straight down to attack these lows here and these lows here. Definitely, I would say for this week, a target's going to be here, 1075. What's basically happened is this is a swing. A trend line swing failure, right? This is essentially, this would have been usually for it to have reacted here, you would have expected it to come up and bounce off the trend line as it's done here, right? But what they do sometimes is it will push through and trick traders to think that actually it's going to be pushing up higher, and then what will happen is it will close back down below. That is a trend line swing failure, right? So how can you trade that? Well, you're anticipating, as you would do with levels on the trend line, you're anticipating a reaction at this zone. So if we zoom in to the 15-minute chart, right? I got in long, I think, here, and I got out around here, all right? That's just part of my trading strategy. The more profitable trading strategy would have been to short up here somewhere and come down. But that's different strategies. You'll have to figure that stuff out yourself. The main thing is that you've used a trend line to anticipate an area where price was going to react, right? And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for the area, and you're looking to see whether it's going to go up from there or go down from there. Pretty simple, really. So today you could have been, yesterday, you could have been thinking, right, okay, it's Monday. Price has come up. You could have had that, set an alarm, right? And then you're not even watching the charts, right? You could have this on 2 or 3 different pairs that you're looking for. You set your trend lines, bang, an alert goes off. Right, okay, let's go and have a look at the charts. Let's see what's happening. On the 4-hourly chart, right? Key piece of information here. You can see that price pushed up through and then closed back below, right? So what does that mean? It means that it's respecting this trend line. So from that point onwards, so that's 10 o'clock plus 4 hours was going to be 2 o'clock, right? So let's zoom down to 15 minutes and have a look at 2 o'clock onwards. Okay, here, this is where we closed down, right, at this point here. So this point here, your 4-hourly candle closed, right? And what it's told you is that it tested the trend line and it failed to close above. So you can naturally expect that it's, or you can naturally assume that it's respecting the trend line as you thought, right? So your strategy might be on trend lines. It might be that you're looking to short the third tap or long the third tap. It's quite a common strategy. The third tap is usually an explosive one. It doesn't work all the time. It's not 100%. Otherwise, everybody would be doing it, right? So what you're basically looking to do is you could have gone short. You could have gone short here with a stop loss up here because you know that price got rejected, right? So you could have gone short on the end of the 4-hourly candle with a stop loss up there and this would be, because you're on a 4-hourly chart, you're looking at this being pretty much a swing trade, really. You're only going to be in it for weeks. So, you know, naturally, if you're looking at this now, let's have a look. They usually run parallel with each other, trend lines. So that's the case, right? Let's take that. Let's clone it. And let's see where we fit in, right? Not really going anywhere. Personally, I would say your best bet's gonna be this point, right? Because you've got your swing high, swing low, swing high, and it's been bouncing around that zone. So you could also say, right, that you've got another one comes in here. Let's have a look. Right, looking at that information there and there. Right, that's your lower. This is the same as what's happened here. 1, 2, 3. Here you've got 1, 2. This could be your downside target, right? And then ultimately this would be the second target, which comes back below these lows. So that's how you can use trend lines, and you're only going to get better at them if you go through and you have a look. And going back to obviously the original video talking about edge, this is where your analysis comes in, right? You can see this has happened. Now you want to have a look to see, right, okay, well, how could I have entered that? How could I have entered the trade? You could have said, right, what my plan is to set an alarm for when the 4-hourly trend line hits, and then I'll drop down to a 5-minute chart and I look for a break in market structure, right? A lot of people trade like this. It's a very simple way to trade. You know, you've got your market structure. If you're not unsure what that is, just go up to the other video. There is a video there for market structure as well. So you've got your market structure, consolidation, price has broken down, and then form this trade here, right? So your break in market structure was here, right? So let's just get rid of those lines. So let's be a little bit more clear with this, right? So your strategy might be, and this is how you develop an edge, right? You look at the information, and then you run over the things that you already know and have a look to see if you can spot that elsewhere. And then once you notice something, you start to see a pattern. And then what you do is you go back and you start back testing it. And then through back testing and forward testing, you've got your information. Then you can start taking out where the trade went wrong. And that's how you go from having a strategy that gives you 50% win rate up to 70, 80% win rate. It's not typically about trying to make the strategy, better in the sense of bringing you more winners. Sometimes it's about just taking 2 or 3 losers out, figuring out, all right, well, if I actually wait for that extra component, it's not going to bring me any more winners, but it might take 2 losers out that I would have usually had. And that can make a massive difference in terms of your risk reward at the end of the week, end of the month, end of the year. So you're looking for a break in market structure, right? So I'll just use this support as resistance been broken. We created support here, right? So looking at levels, you had that there. That could have been your entry here, right? Stop loss goes, for instance, you'll say, for instance, your strategy is for it to hit a trend line on the 4-hourly and then close back below the trend line, right? Because that would have happened here at 2 o'clock here, right? On the 4-hourly, which has happened. So you've got component 1, which is to wait for the 4-hourly trend line to be activated. You're then going to look for price on a 4-hourly to close below the trend line. That's point 2. And then you look for a break in market structure. That's point 3. So at this point, we close below. Then what we have is a break in market structure here, and it pulls back up into that break in market structure. That's going to be your entry. Stop loss goes above here, and then your target, right? First target's obviously going to be these equal lows here, which is going to give you 3.61. But if you're swing trading it, your initial target then is going to be drawn out to your other trend line, right? And that's how the other part of your strategy comes in, entries and exits. So now you can see how we've used the 4-hourly trend line in order to enter a short on the market. And then we're going to be targeting these lows. If it gets down to here, right, and it does that again, right? If it gets down to here and it produces swing failure, closes, the same thing happens, right? 4 hourly closes back above, and then you see your marking structure, then you might go long there then, and you're going to be targeting the top here, right? If it's a case that it just, sits around here and bounces along the trend line, then your next target's going to be there, right? You might take some off. You might take some off at this level here, this key level here. So this is how you're going to use trend lines in order to find some sort of trade. It's a really easy strategy. A lot of people use it. How you become profitable is all about your own analysis, how you comprehend them, what you're looking for. I don't trade with any indicators. I don't use any of them. The only one I can recommend is the moving average, because a lot of people use them, 200-day moving average, as targets. The reason why trend lines work is because a lot of people are using trend lines, right? That's why a lot of people are looking for reactions around this zone. So you're going to, the more people that you're looking, that are going to be looking at that zone, that area, the more of a reaction you're going to see, right? Because it's the market. The more people within the market of the same decision is going to move it further, right? And then you might look at that and think, this is where you bring the different parts of your toolbox in. We're talking about candlesticks, right? That's quite a big bearish candle, and all right, it doesn't take the top out, but the full body is engulfed, right? So we'll see where that closes. Of course, it only matters when it's going to close. Nice little pin bar there as well. So understanding the different things within the toolbox, and then having a look at these strategies that everybody knows about, right? Only then you're going to be able to find your edge. If you've got any questions on trend lines, and if I don't even need to explain it to you, the other way around, just invert the scale, right? It's exactly the same. Just do the opposite for the bullish and bearish. I don't understand why people explain the difference between, or explain it in bullish and then explain it in bearish. It's the same thing, just upside down. So, oh shit, I don't know what I've done there. Like for me personally, I see charts better when they're bullish, right? So a lot of people are like that, yeah? I see setups better when they're in an uptrend, right? It just, my eyes sees it better, yeah? So I'll invert the scale sometimes and take a look. If something's in a short, right? And it, it's, fucking hell, and it's not perfect, and I'm thinking, does that look right? I'll bang it over to, and then I think, right, okay, so if this was a long, is that looking good for me? Well, in the long, that probably is looking good for me. It's really respected underneath this trend line. We've been really strong with these movements up. We're actually just come to the open of the day, right? So whatever was done today has been completely reversed. So you can say that probably these targets are going to be hit for this week. What I might do is actually I'll complete this video towards the end of the week, and we'll see where we get, and we'll review where we are on it, to see if it come back down or what it done, just to give you a little bit of comprehension on the trade itself. So I'll leave that here. I'll leave that as it is. I'm basically just explaining to you how the trend lines work, how you use them to trade with. It's entirely up to you. You might find, for instance, another one. I'm just going to keep rounding these off because people pick things up differently. You might find that entering on this market structure break, the first market structure break, this is the key market structure break, pull back, enter. You might find that this candle, right, the first reverse candle, right, so the market's going down, the first up candle before the breaking close, you might find that 80% of the time this respects that candle, right? And if you found that out in your analysis, it gives you the confidence to do it. That's a really tight stop to get. Remember, we're on a 5-minute chart, yeah? That's a really tight stop to get. You are hitting 6.4 pips. That's what I had on this euro US dollar trade down here somewhere, right? And I got 7R within an hour and a half. That's just how I like to trade. I like to get in and out. It's done, a couple of hours. I don't want to piss around. And for this reason exactly, could have been greedy, and I could have sat there and said, right, I'm going to trail my stops, right? And I might have moved my stop loss up to here. I think I ended up getting out about here, but I could have trailed my stop loss up here and let it run, right? But I don't like to sit there and monitor and watch, and that would have been a couple of hours of sitting there non-stop watching the screen. just thinking, oh my God, is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? It's just not worth it for me. But you might find from your analysis that that respects that, and boom, you know, in the day, you've already hit, what's that? What does it go into 7? So you're hitting like, it's like 5R you'd be sitting on right now. So you could have took this trade for 7, took this trade for 5, right? If you're getting that good, but you might find that only works 60% of the time, right? With a 5R, that's fine. But what you might find is actually entering on the second market structure break, right? So you've got one market structure break here. So this is support. It's been broken, yeah, tested here. So support is now resistance. You might find that this one here, support, has been broken, tested up here. You might find that this is the best candle to hit. Wait for the second time for it to, the second market structure break, and then you're looking for, you know, some sort of a bearish candle to enter on. So you might have said that was my candle there, right? The second market structure is broken, and then we've got this massive bearish engulfing candle. Boom, that's my trade. There's so many different ways to look at it, but what's going to make you successful is finding what's specific to you, and that takes time, and it takes a lot of analysis, sitting there, going through it, back testing, forward testing. But the more you do it, and the more times, when I first started, I must have had 30 different eureka moments of like, damn it, I've got the one, it's going to be fucking making me millions. And it's only through failing, but you fail forward with it, you know, you learn something each time something doesn't work, and you memorize that, and next time you find something, you draw upon that information, and actually, well, I've done that before, and that makes sense because last time it didn't work for this reason, but if I add that and I try this, it's actually working a lot better. And only by doing that, and once you found that, then just smashing it out and doing it for as long as you can, does it give you the confidence to actually think, well, actually, let's just give this couple of years, see how much money I can make with it, rather than trying to make so much money. You're only going to get that through your analysis. But I'm going to leave it there. That's pretty basically how you draw trend lines. It's really simple strategy. That's just the swing failure. The only other side I would say is obviously if the trend line's broken. So let's just quickly see if I can find you one where the trend line's broken. Right, this is one here, yeah. Okay. Right, one. Didn't quite come down this time. 1, 2, tap, tap, tap. 3, it's come up. Right, let's get rid of this one so it might confuse you. Smash. Usually expecting it to push up from here, but actually it's broken through and it's closed through on the 4 hourly. It didn't pull back up and respect it. It's closed through this time. Price keeps going down, so you might find, I don't know, see if I can find, using the similar strategy we just spoke about. Okay, so price has closed before, closed down. You're now looking for a market structure break where you've got 1, 2, price breaks the market structure here, pulls up and respects it. So that could have been some sort of entry that you was looking there. You might have entered on that pin bar. Boom. All right, and then price has come down and broken market structure again. So you might have got out there 7R. Price comes back up into the area. There's so many different ways, and that's the beauty of it. There's so many different ways of making your strategy your own and tailoring it to who you are. But you're only really going to know that after, you know, a good year's worth of just messing about with charts, looking. Make it a hobby for now. Forget about the money. Just make it a hobby. You can do it the weekend. You can spend a couple of hours at the weekend just reviewing the 3 different pairs that you like. And thinking, right, okay, well, now I've got that information, let's go over it, let's draw my trend lines, let's see if I can, you know, look at strategy trend lines 101 and see where that implemented and see how it worked. So that's pretty much it. It's quite a long video, it's 20 minutes. The analogy, the strategy of trading trend lines is really, really stupidly easy. But I went into a little bit more depth with actually fine-tuning the strategy and making it your own, which is more what I want to focus on with this channel, rather than teaching you the strategy. It's more about making the strategy your own, and I hope it's made sense. Any questions, if I've not covered something, or if you're unsure of something, I'm gonna be, just drop a comment in down below. But once I've opened up my Discord group, I'm gonna have a section for people to ask questions and just generally contact me about anything, and then I can do review videos and put them in the Discord group, or if a lot of people are unsure, I'll just do another YouTube video. So I hope you like it. Cool.